Hello fiber fans, friends, and followers. My name is Beth, and I'm here to talk to you about all of the yarny things I've gotten into recently. Today I will be talking about quite a bit of new to me things. I've got some knitting frustrations I've been dealing with regarding my works in progress. No finished objects, probably as a result of what I just said. And yeah, did I say new to me? I got a lot of new to me. And I will be doing a prompt for the next Sandy bag. So haven't thought about what that will be yet. Maybe it'll be something related to my frustrations, but we'll see. And today, it's 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to my American friends. And that's why I'm wearing my freedom shirt. So I wore this to school yesterday because we were celebrating 4th of July there. And I will be changing as soon as I'm done with this because we were outside the whole time at school, so it does not smell very good. So fortunately, I know you can't smell this. So I will be changing as soon as I'm done recording. But I thought I have to wear this for the 4th of July. Anyhow, so this is the bag that I will be announcing the prompt for. So if you want to be in the running for that, stay tuned. At some point, I will be deciding what my question is that I want you to comment on below. So I thought I'd show this at the beginning because this is one of my new to me things. I saw this not long ago on Instagram, and that's what made me want to buy it, knowing that the 4th of July was coming up, and I can't remember who made it, and I feel like it may not be. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Earthwise Emporium, and it says it's made in the USA. So perfect for today. I guess that was really, well, I've got other USA type stuff. I'll get into that at the end because that's the new to me segment. I've already jumped ahead of myself. I apologize. So let's talk about my knitting frustrations this week. You guys have seen my Flutterbutt shirt. It is a pattern by Jessie Maed Designs. It is a knit along that Knitty, McPurly, and Arkansas Yarn Company did together, and I started it sort of late for the knit along, knowing full well I was not going to finish it with the knit along. But here's where I'm at. So last time I showed it on myself, and I said that I was going to rip back and potentially do a V-neck on it, and I had asked for suggestions, and Susan, thank you Susan, of Delightful Works, check her out on Etsy. She makes bags, they're excellent. She had made a V-neck version of this, and she sent me a message on Instagram to detail everything that she remembered doing with it. And so that was very helpful. It kind of confirmed some of the things that I was thinking about doing with this. And I'm gonna try to put it on, but I can't figure out where all this yarn is going, and it's still attached to some because I'm undecided on whether or not I want to rip out what I've already done. So since I last showed this, I had had this bound off on the shoulders like this, but the neckline was completely different. It's supposed to have like a ribbed neckline that goes sort of across the front in exactly the same way that the back goes across. I don't know how well you can see that or hear me, but I then decided to go with a V-neck on this, and I thought that will be better for what I want. And it's only because I could feel it, and it was uncomfortable. And maybe all I needed to do was add another couple of short rows and like allow it to fall down further. But I felt more comfortable trying to do a V-neck. Now, I had intended for the V to come down to here. I had placed, not this marker, I had placed this marker here when I tried it on with the finish that I had. So I'm wondering, no, I looked at the short rows that they had in the pattern, and it said, you know, do so many. I want to say they said you'll see 11 double stitches when you're finished with the short rows. So they said you'll have 11 double stitches, and that, I don't know if that changes by the different sizes, and I'm not even doing what would be my normal size, so that gives away nothing for anyone. Anyhow, that is to make it so that you've got that shoulder slope. And I did not initially think about that when I started doing the short rows. Because what I did is I divided the stitches in half, and since I had an even number across the front, what I did is, whether I knit or purled across, I don't remember, but I stitched the two center stitches together. And then on the following round, I bound that stitch off so that I would have an even number on either side. And then initially what I did is I was thinking it was going to be 25 rows and Susan had said the same thing. She thought that she did 25 rows. So, and she even said, I don't remember for sure, but I think this is what I did. So anyway, I tried to get them, knowing that I only had the 25 rows and that I needed to bind off 25 stitches, I started binding off the first stitch oh no, that's not how I did it. Susan bound off the first stitch. Here's another new to me that relates to this. So I went to the library with my mom the other day. She has a library right next to her apartment building. She had never gone there. And I had suggested this would be a good place for her to walk because it's so close to her apartment and driving would seem silly. So we walked over there and she went to her section that she wanted to look at, and I went, of course, to the knitting section. Knitting details, start to finish. This book, I started leafing through it, and of course, when you're looking at things, it makes you think about the projects that you're working on, and especially if you're altering something, what you can do to alter that. I don't even remember what I was looking at in this book, but there was something I was looking at that made me say, oh, I don't have to do it like that. So my idea was I wanted to have a more finished neckline than just a bound off stitch at the edge. I wanted to have an I-cord edge. And, I don't have it in here. I've recently been working on La Prairie by Joji Locatelli. Maybe I should bring that in here. Anyway, she has an I-cord edge on that. It is a cardigan, and there's an I-cord edge on it. And what you do is on the purl side, you slip the stitches. On the knit side, you knit the stitches to make that I-cord edge. So it's just the 3 stitches right along the edge. And then whenever you're on the knit side, you knit them. Whenever you're on the purl side, you just slip them with the yarn in front. And it makes for a nice, maybe, let me see if you can see that here. Can you see my little I-cord edge? So that's what I did there. And so instead of binding off the first stitch, I did a slip, slip, knit on this side and a knit 2 together on this side, I think. It may be the opposite, but being that I'm looking in the camera and trying to think of this in the right direction, you get the idea. Let me see if you can see. Can you see that in there? I can't. Can you see it in here? I can't see that either. But it's there. That's what I did in order to achieve that V-neck look. Now, like I said, I put the pin right here on it so that it did not come down that far because I did not knit up that much. But now I'm not getting what I would consider to be a traditional V-neck look on this. It just kind of looks like a crew neck. I mean, you can see it's mostly following the crew neck t-shirt that I'm wearing. And what I'm deciding is, do I like the look of that? Because I mean, I intended for a V-neck, but just because I didn't come out with that doesn't mean that's not what I want. And I also think the length is where it should be. So I would say the narrowest part of my waist is right about here. And my understanding from what I have heard from people who have done this pattern before me is that is where you should start the ruffles on this pattern. So, I mean, I'm a little bit above that right now. I can, like, my ribs are right here. The end right here. So, I don't know. Maybe it would be good to go a little bit deeper. I'm trying to unroll it and see if that is the smallest part of my waist. I do think I'm stretching it right now. This is me making decisions as I'm podcasting, but yeah, I do think it's the right length. It's naturally coming down to that when I relax my arms, it's hitting at the smallest part of my waist. So I think it's where it needs to be lengthwise. So if I did undo it again in order to do, and the other thing so going back to, I decreased every row for 25 rows. I had like this much. And I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So I had to undo all that. I only did one side like that. I could tell it was not going to be a V-neck. And that it wasn't, obviously wasn't going to fit. It was going to be up here again. So undid that, redid with not only going every other row with my decrease stitch, but also adding short rows because I realized that I would need to do that in order to get the shoulder slope. So I did a lot of short rows within these sections. I want to say I did 2 sets of short rows. I did a set of 4 short rows and then another set of maybe 5 or 6 short rows, because not only was I feeling like I wasn't going to hit the depth that I needed with going every other row and just straight across, and maybe that's maybe if I had done that, I would have had that V-neck look more so. I don't know. I'm like, this is me trying to like figure out what would happen to the length of it if I had done it that way. I don't know. At any rate, I like the look of it, but it's not what I anticipated. So I think my next step is going to be adding the ruffle and seeing if I like that, because if I add the sleeves, that means there's no going back on the front. So that's the plan as of now, is just add the ruffle at the bottom, because I can still think about it and decide what I want to do. Let me know what you think. Obviously, I'm not going to be wearing this shirt underneath it, but we'll see. I don't know. So that is my Flutterbutt shirt by Jessie Maed Designs. Next work in progress will be this one. This is, I had started this past weekend. I think I mentioned it on my last episode, that I saw this pattern and I wanted to do it as my Teal Thing for the Makers Meetup coming up in July in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. And if you want to know more about that, it will be linked below. Penny of PJ Knits, along with her friend Kendra, are running this event, and there is a link to a Ravelry discussion group where there are details about the event. So there is a knit along for Teal Things, and this is my Sylvan tee that I believe I showed the pattern for on the last episode. Now, I started this, and the way it works is you start in the center and then knit out to each side. And when I first started this, I was like, I don't think I need to print this out. I'll be fine just reading it on my phone. And I don't know if that is what made any sort of difference, but I had to read and reread, and I ended up going one, so let's see, where's the center of this? Right here. This is the center. So you do this big cable in the middle 3 times before you get to the end of this, and then there's no, like, the next right side row on this would be the big cable in the middle, but you don't quite get to that. So I misread the pattern, and I did 2 repeats and then ended like right here. And I did that on both sides, and then I started measuring to see if I had what it said I was supposed to have. And one of the things that it specifically stated is that you will have 6 of this major cable. And I'm like, does she really mean that or not? I know this was test knit. I can't imagine she would make that mistake. And I thought maybe I almost had it, but if I went as much further as that would be, it would have been 20 rows more. I was like, there's no way I'm getting what the measurement is. So of course this was just brain fog and not thinking clearly, and eventually got down to, yes, I do need to pick those stitches back up and add to it. So that was one of those frustrations. And then after that, you pick up stitches. So you knit the cable part, and can you see, like, this is the edge of that. And then you pick up stitches all along this edge, and then this is the back, and you start the short rows for the back. So this is all short rows. So you can see here's the middle where the short rows go to, and then here's the edge, which is much shorter than the short rows in the middle. So that was, I specifically kind of postponed doing the short rows, because when I do short rows, I like to do it all in one sitting. And because you're always in the middle of a row. So I wanted to make sure that I was doing that. And then at one point in the middle of the short rows, I think I accidentally knit half of a double stitch and looked at the next stitch, and I was like, what is this? What did I do here? Something's wrong. And instead of undoing that stitch that I had just knit, I assumed that I accidentally just turned the work around and didn't do a double stitch. And then I had to undo both rows, and because I was trying to fix it from where I was, and it was a mess. Anyhow, that's my knitting frustration for the time being. The other work in progress that I have regularly been working on, and it has been very much off and on here and there, not very frequently, is my, did I say the name of this? This is the Sylvan tee by Aneta Bleyer. And this is upside down. This is the back shoulders. Did I say that? So this will sit across here. And I'll knit down there, and then from the shoulders, I'll knit down 2 panels, and then it'll meet under the arms. So that is the Sylvan tee by Aneta Bleyer. Okay, so my next work in progress. This is, I've been working on this here and there off and on, not very much, but this is Moonint by Andrea Mowry, and I have about 1/4 of a repeat left before you split for sleeves. So I'm excited about how this is working up. It looks like it is going to be the perfect fit. Although, if I'm 1/4 of a repeat from splitting for sleeves, that is not where I want that to be. I may want to continue up another repeat. So we'll see. This one maybe, this has been my easy knit. This has been the one that I really don't have to think much about. It's, I love this stitch pattern. It's an easy mosaic repeat. I don't have to keep looking back at the pattern. Very simple to follow. So, but I may need to be making decisions on this one coming up. I'm not too upset about that though. all I have left is new to me things. So I haven't had a lot of time to read. I wanted to look more into this one because it looks like it's got a lot of good information in it. And one thing I was thinking about, it's funny, like right now, I'm alternating weeks. I'm recording a week for fall and another week for summer, and then repeating the process. This coming week will be a fall week. So there was something in this book that I will be talking about in a fall episode because I recorded that last week. So I kind of feel like I don't want to get into that because I got into it there and you'll hear it in the future. It's weird doing this in this way because like I've never planned things out this far in advance. So what I do want to say about that is I've got a fall week coming up and then another summer week and then Shark Week. And Shark Week ends the weekend of the Makers Meetup. So my plan then will be one fall week, so I won't be recording next weekend for the summer. I will be recording for the fall. And then the following week will be the announcement of the Sandy Bag winner. So that will be my summer week, and hopefully I will have a whole lot of progress on this because I want to have this finished so that I don't have to do anything on it during Shark Week when I will be focused on my Shark Week project. Speaking of Shark Week, I should talk more about that. If you haven't been around and are not aware, Shark Week is a knit along that is run by politically incorrect knitters. You can find them on Instagram, on YouTube as politically incorrect knitters, and details will be forthcoming on that, on how to enter your name to participate. I am one of the sponsors of this year's Shark Week. Generally speaking, Shark Week is you pick a project, you tell them what project you've chosen. So through email, you need to declare the project that you are going to do. And whatever you choose to do, you cannot start it until Shark Week officially begins, which is like midnight on the 20th of July. And then you must complete the project by the following, I believe, Saturday night. So the 27th, maybe 26th. I don't know. But you have to finish it by the cutoff. And if you don't, the shark gets you and you have to frog your entire project. I love this. I think this is the most amazing idea. It is a great way to challenge yourself. And I am learning how to choose what is a good challenge for me to do within a week by having participated this in the past couple of years. My first week, I chose a pair of shorty socks. Way too easy for me. I finished that within a couple of days. My next year, I chose to make a crochet cardigan that I was sort of making up the pattern on. That was too much. Couldn't do it. I withdrew rather than like, and just decided I'm forgoing the prizes. And now, being that I'm a sponsor, I can't do that. Not going to do it. Not going to withdraw. If I don't finish my project, I am frogging. And I'm a little bit nervous about this. So I have not declared yet because they haven't given us the form to declare. They may have done that by now. I forgot they said something about going live at 9 o'clock this morning. I think, or is that tomorrow morning? I don't remember. But yes, I need to watch that episode and find out what to do. And so do you. Anyhow, I think that's all I wanted to say about this book for now, because I did mention what inspired me in this. Although I can't remember what it was that I saw, but it was something that was showing if you want to make decreases, you don't have to do it by binding off at the edge. And that was what made me think, oh, I could do different things. I also found this book at my mom's library, and it is Operation Sock Drawer. This was very popular a couple years ago, I think. I want to say it came out in like 2022. Let's see if it says somewhere in here. Oh, it is stamped by the library November 30th, 2020. Wow, I didn't realize it was that old. So that's probably why I did not get it at the time, because I was not ready to do like tons and tons of socks. And so there's some super cute things in here. I like the texture on that. It reminds me of one of the blanket squares that I did in the Barocco knitting, or Barocco blanket mystery knit along. I like this. It's called Stained Glass. That's kind of cool. That one's cool. So I don't know that I'm going to do any of these. Maybe, here's the thing. I've been thinking about this recently. I do not currently have socks on the needles. I probably have some somewhere in this room that I have sort of put aside in favor of more active projects. And I've been recently thinking, I want to put more socks on needles, because that is one of those mindless things that I could have going. But instead, everything I have right now is something I need to think about. And so starting one of these is not going to be that kind of project for me. I want to have something where I just knit round and round. And then the other book that I got from the library was this one, 100 Flowers to Knit and Crochet. And you can see they've got all these little cute flowers. And I thought, well, that would be fun to add details to things. And one of the things they show, this poinsettia, they use that as a, in another picture in the book, they show it as almost like putting a bow on your gift. You put it on top of the gift box and you give it to whoever in that way. And now I can't find that picture. So, oh, there it is. Look, isn't that cute? I think that's a great idea. I'm not sure I want to do that, but I thought it was cute. Speaking of poinsettias, mine is gone. I let it go for too long after I overwatered it. So if you've been watching for a while, I used to have it over here in place of the vase, and I overwatered it at one point, and then the leaves just started falling off all over the place. And then I was at a point where I thought, if I just like trim this, I will have better possibilities with this. And then all of the leaves fell off. And I thought, well, at this point, and it is my understanding that if you don't have any leaves, then like it can no longer absorb sun the way it's supposed to. So it does not have that ability to grow anymore. So I thought, you know, at this point it's kill it or cure it with the trimming. So I might as well trim it at this point just to see if that does it any good, you know, allow it to have more of a fighting chance because there's less that it needs to put its energy into if you are trimming off all the extra branches, as it were. Yeah, that didn't do it. It's turning very brown now. I have it on my kitchen table because I thought it would get more sunlight in there, although I probably could have put it on the table right here in front of me. I'll flip the camera around. You can see there's the window right there to the outside, and I get sunlight in this space. And yeah, I could have done that, but I didn't, because then I hardly ever come in here. I come in here to podcast once a week, and that's it. And then when the poinsettia was in here, I was coming in to water that once a week as well. So sadly, the poinsettia is headed for the garbage can. Okay, here we go. Sandy bag prompt. Do you have a green thumb? I think generally speaking, I have a green thumb. I like to garden, and my problem is that I don't get around to it when I know I should. I actually have some things growing on the windowsill in my kitchen that I had started them growing in the spring, like before the spring. Some of them I think may have been there since maybe February, because I know that in my climate, in the Chicago area, if you don't start your seeds early enough, you're not going to get your plants to full growth before the end of the season. So I have left these little plants on my windowsill and have not planted them in the ground outside. So I do think I have a pretty decent green thumb. I've got house plants that have survived for long periods of time. I have a peace lily that a friend gave me when my son passed away in 2010, and that has survived through today. So I can keep plants alive for a good long time. I just need to make sure that I get around to watering them and not overwatering them. So, and some plants are more resilient than others. So if you want to be entered in the drawing for this bag, comment below. Do you have a green thumb? What is your forte in the green thumb category? Do you love to grow plants outside, inside? Are you, do you have a black thumb and everything you touch turns to dust? Where are you at in the world of plants? I love plants. I love, I think now what it is for me that stops me from going out in the garden is that I would prefer to be sitting and knitting, and I know that everything I want to do is going to take longer than I want it to take out in the garden. So, and it's also it's all weather dependent. So on a day that it's 90 degrees and super sunny and humid, I'm like, I don't want to be out in the garden digging. And I knew in the springtime that I should get it done then. But then there's like that whole hardening off thing that you're supposed to do, where you keep your plant outside for a period of time before you plant it in the garden, because the plant needs to slowly get used to being out in the sun and the elements. So yeah, comment below. I'm curious to know, and you will be entered in the drawing to win the Sandy bag. New to me, other than the library books, I just subscribed to the monthly Take a Hike yarn subscription by the Sheepyshire. And this is her staple sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Ooh, 460 yards. That's long. So the reason that I decided to subscribe to this yarn club, this is actually the June colorway. It is called Long Walk Off a Short Pier. And I like that it's got a little bit of red in it, so that sort of makes it a little red, white, and blue kind of 4th of July. I almost said St. Patrick's Day. That would be green. So very festive for July, but this is the June colorway. And the reason that I subscribed to this was because I saw the May colorway, and she had posted that and said something about that there are still some June left that could be claimed. And so for whatever reason, could be the fact that I had a margarita or two before I saw this post, I was thinking I was going to get the color in the picture. And so when this arrived, I have to admit, I was mildly disappointed, but at the same time, I knew there would be another color for the following month, and I did see that the billing for that went through, and I'm very hopeful for that one because I like the inspiration picture, so I'm hoping it's got the colors that I'm looking for. And like, I gotta say, I'm not entirely disappointed in this. These are pretty colors. I will likely make socks out of this. This has been sitting on my couch, and I have like a center console thing on my couch where you can like, it's got drink holders, and it's got, you can plug in your phone on it, and it's got a little open and close thing that you can put things in. But so this has been sitting on top of that because when I got the mail, I sat there and opened this up, and I've been inspired to cast on socks in large part because this has been sitting there, and I thought this needs to be socks. The next new to me thing I have, and actually the last, Lynn from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts is the sweetest woman. She sent me this note, which it's super sweet. And Lynn, if you're watching, thank you so much. Such a sweet note. We'll have to talk about some of that. But I saw she must have had some sale on something. I don't remember what. I'm a sucker for sales. When I'm looking for something specific, I almost always look for a sale or a discount or whatever. And so I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if it was like stuff that was in the last chance or I don't know. But I was inspired. Oh, I just felt this in the bag and remembered that she included some extras. So these are things that I can add to my Sandy bag giveaways. So some lucky person is going to get these. So 2 different lucky people. I'm not gonna, anyhow. So this is, I believe, a current colorway. So she may still have this. Red, white, and blue. I stand by you. It's a song, I think, but obviously that screams 4th of July. So is this 2 separate? Yes, this is 2 separate 50 gram, colors. I believe it's the white and blue is one and the white and red is another. Yeah. So it's like these 2. Or is it? Yes. Yes. So these are the 2 separate colorways. So this will probably knit up kind of like stars, and this, I'm not seeing the stripiness necessarily, but you get the idea. So I'm not sure what this wants to be. We shall see, because I also got this one and this one. The reason I ordered what I ordered is because it showed that it was in stock, and that's what I was looking for, is a bunch of different red, white, and blue stuff that was all in stock, and as opposed to like, okay, dye me some new whatevers. I was like, let's see what she's got in stock. So this one, the base is super soft sock, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% recycled nylon. This one is BFL sock in the colorway Scarlet. This is reading a lot brighter red on the screen than it looks in real life. It's more of a, I mean, and you can tell too, looking at me, my skin looks way whiter to me right now. And I feel like this is reading more royal blue than it looks in person. This is a very navy blue, and it's called Quantum Blue, and it is sparkle fingering. So this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, no, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. Did I say this one? BFL sock is 75% superwash blue flaced Leicester and 25% nylon. So 3 different bases. I could see them all in one project. You can see how these blues are definitely not the same. So I feel like they're still not reading on the screen what I would say the true colors are there. So come see me in person. We can knit together and I can show you the colors. Anyhow, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. I could see these being something together, and perhaps adding this. I had thought of maybe socks, and this may be something else. I don't really know. So this is what I had in mind, and I don't know if I said it on my last episode, but I was talking about the star stitch that was used in this pattern. I'm looking for which one is the front. So this star stitch, I want to experiment with a 2-color version of that. So and that is Ksenia Nedjan's Flutter and Bloom Shawl. Anyhow, that's all I have that's new to me, I think. I feel like I'm missing something because I remember thinking, oh, I have a whole lot of new to me. but that is, for me, that's a lot. And upcoming events, I mentioned I mentioned Shark Week, I mentioned the meetup, did I mention Wisconsin Sheep and Wool is coming up in September, and I will be going to that with my friend Colleen, known as Selfish Knitter on Instagram. Hi, Colleen. And we are taking some classes together so that I can learn how to use this thing, my spindle, as well as we're also taking a class on spinning wheel spinning. So I'm not sure what this fiber is here. Remember to comment below, and remember to like, subscribe, survive and thrive, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Am I crooked? I think I am. Better? My head's getting cut off. Okay.